Can you create a mid-century style bathroom more snazzy and sharp than the house had originally, even after a sad, sad flip? Well, yes, you absolutely can, and today I've got the proof. Colin and Dana of Un.Flipping, that's Un.Flipping at Instagram, have been going on a journey of turning their house around. They've stripped their brick, brought back a wood grain kitchen, recreated a cozy basement den. Now they've turned their attention to the owner's bathroom. Their project is startlingly gorgeous, so time capsule perfect that they regularly get people commenting on their Instagram account saying, "Don't touch that vintage bathroom," not realizing that they made it from scratch. Hey there, welcome back to Mid-Mod Remodel. This is the show about updating MCM homes, helping you match a mid-century home to your modern life. I'm your host, Della Hansmann, architect and mid-century enthusiast, and this is episode 2503. Without further ado, Colin and Dana of Un.Flipping, and we're going to talk about their latest project, which I'm so thrilled by, which is the creation anew of a great mid-century style bathroom. If you would like to hear more about their house and their projects, I had a great conversation with them. Was it last fall?
I think so. I want to say
Is it that long ago already?
September, October.
Oh my God.
Something
was
like
fun.
that. Yeah. So I'll link to that in the show notes. But today we're talking about how great their bathroom has turned out. So this has been, it's a bathroom. It's also an owner suite. You worked on the bedroom as well a little bit, and they very much coordinate. But I guess to start from the beginning, how did you pick this as your next up project? What made it come to the top of your list?
I think we just finally got fed up with what was in there. It was such a small, unusable space.
Well, and so this for years now, we thought we were just going to redo the existing footprint and just replace the fixtures, replace the tile. And there was nothing that we really knew what we wanted to do with the space because we hated it because it was so small and not super functional. So we kind of just procrastinated doing it for a long time until we figured out what we wanted to do. We always knew we wanted to do a more Usonian, woodsy bathroom. And we were like, that's such a good primary bathroom vibe. But we didn't want to do it in that small space. A look like that deserves a bigger bathroom. So it was just this whole thing back and forth. And then literally randomly in the middle of the night, one of our dogs woke up, threw up, and I was just up sitting in bed after that. And literally out of nowhere, it just dawned on me that we can take the closet space surrounding it and just kind of repurpose it into a bigger bathroom. So then we were able to use our dream inspiration and make it bigger, make it more functional. So it all just kind of fell into place. And then we're like, okay, that's next.
Yeah, let's get going.
That is so satisfying. Well, I'm going to point everyone to the show notes page for images, but also if you are listening and you want to just look along with what's going on, the Instagram account that you guys curate, un.flipping, is a perfect record of what you're doing in the bathroom. I know you've talked about how it's hard to keep it updated, but you've got really, really good documentation of this project. Maybe I'm going to get so far ahead of myself here, but who cares about the order? Do you feel like you've learned more about how to document what you're doing as you go along the process and how to sort of capture the before and after and things like that too?
Yeah, definitely. Back in, earlier days, it was just, let me take one photo before and then afterwards I have a bunch of photos, but even then it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't good. It wasn't good documentation. So then you learn what works and what doesn't. And
yeah, I mean, especially just with the way our page has been going, it's just kind of one of those things that we finally got our footing with a lot of the stuff. And so it's just that was the next big project after, the kitchen and trying to furnishing and stuff like that. So it was just we knew what to do, which was, get every single little detail documented.
Yes.
And so
everybody wants to know more.
We knew what people would ask about basically.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's prepare these specific topics.
And honestly, not everyone has an Instagram page with 119,000 followers on it, but everybody wants to be able to say, it looked like this and I did this. And so, actually, you have some great visual examples, not just of what to do in your bathroom, but how to capture all of it, which is great. So you decided it's going to be the bathroom and we're going to change the footprint and borrow spaces. When you're going along on it, how much do you feel like you have everything locked in before you start? Or is there some organic development along the way, which is the DIYer's privilege? Or where do you fall on that spectrum?
Yeah, so we definitely had an idea. And so with all this, it kind of really takes a step back though, because it's just our whole thing is unflipping. So trying to put back a lot of stuff that was in here
Hmm.
originally, and then the flippers took out. And so like we tried finding the original bathroom, like not only layout but fixtures, color scheme, all of that, and we couldn't find it for the longest time. And then we finally found it, and it was your typical 50s, 60s. So like a lot of the makers of this house would have, colorful tiles and fixtures and stuff like that. Ours
Hmm.
was white 4x4 and then pink
Oh,
fixtures. So like it was a pretty tame example of what you might have got. But I mean that led us to the next thing of like, okay, great. This can we'll do a full pink bathroom for the guest bathroom. And then we can take the white tile and incorporate that into the main bathroom with like the Usonian vibe that we kind of want to give it. So we're able to kind of take whatever we want to from that while also originaling what was once there.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I like to think we pre-planned as much
much
as
as
we
possible.
possibly could have. But even then, like it wasn't until we were drawing up the plans for the permit to submit to the city that we realized we could move the door
Yeah.
and gain so much more vanity space. Like it was things like that that we're still kind of learn as we go, figure it out. We've never done a bathroom before.
Yeah.
And then there were certain things like we got vintage faucets that my dad had at his factory that we were going to use, and then they ended up just kind of crumbling when he went to use them. So
Yeah.
we had to pivot,
A lot of
game
times.
time there. But yeah, I would say probably 80% we had figured
Pre-planned.
out ahead of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's nice too, because I think even when you have a very specific plan, any remodel is going to have some unexpected things that you turn
Yeah.
up when you start to demo or when you're doing anything with reclaimed materials. Sometimes they're not going to work out. So you need to have some flexibility built in, but it's better to have a bit of a vision of where you're headed rather than trying to figure it all out in advance.
Yeah.
And you did some, okay, I want to talk about the wood panels. You did some pretty unusual, cool things in this bathroom that required searching out materials that aren't typical and sort of planning backer board and things like that to make sure that you were handling the water in an appropriate way. So maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but let's talk about your choice to panel this bathroom, even in some of the wet places, and what research you did on that and how that went as you were going along and how you like it now.
Yeah, it's something that we always wanted to do. And then I think it was kind of like a final, just like, yeah, let's definitely do this when we visited our Frank Lloyd Wright house and stayed there.
Hmm.
Obviously seeing it
Oh,
all there was
cool.
great. And so then we got to talking with the owner. And our biggest thing was like obviously wood in the bathroom. That's the one thing that was just like, oh, moisture, all this stuff is just gonna get damaged, mold, that. And so like talking with the owner, they're like, I use this specific marine varnish on all of the wood, exterior and
Hmm.
interior. And that was kind of just another thing of just like, oh, okay, this can be done. Like, what is it? And then we started doing more research, and it's a type of marine varnish that is used on boats, obviously marine varnish, but it's able to keep out the moisture extremely well. Obviously, you have to do like 3+ coats and wait 24 hours for it to cure, even longer than that. And so, I mean, that was kind of like the first thing I was just like, all right, yeah, let's do this. And then at least for like what type of wood that we used, that was kind of just like we went off of what our doors were,
Yeah, that went
which
from
was
your knowledge of the
yeah.
trim and the doors. He he
That
knows so much about wood
well,
species
yeah, no,
now.
but
Yeah,
we did
you've done your
Luan door.
research.
Yeah, we did the Luan doors though. And so
Hmm.
like the closest thing you can get that for trim, I mean, there's not Luan trim out there, but Sapele was the closest that we could get that matched pretty much perfectly. And so we just thought we would continue that further
Hmm.
with the panels. So we just got full Sapele panels, threw them on up, and then yeah, got them finished.
And it looks so good. It looks so good. And so you finished them first. You put on the marine grade layers, 3 coats, laid flat, and then installed. Do you worry about seams or sealing between pieces of wood at all, or how did that go?
Yeah.
We finished them after we installed them.
Oh,
We
okay.
didn't, yeah, we ended up not having like it was raining and we didn't have the room to lay them out and
Yeah,
finish
it's
them beforehand.
How it goes.
So yeah, so finishing them when they're up kind of seals in the seams,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it did. It would overlap that, which I mean, we didn't really think of at first, but as we are doing it, you could see it curing within those seams, which did block that as well. But they are butt
Right.
up, right up next to each other. That I mean, creates a really good seal. And our concern was like, yeah, like is that going to be visible? And some spots like you might be able to see it, but I mean, otherwise, like if you're just like walking in there and you're not paying attention to it with a lot of other projects, you don't see it at all, which it came out even better than we thought.
Yeah.
Right. It looks so good. It looks so good. Yeah, it's great. I'm just gonna say that a million more times during this conversation because I adore it. Now, of course, when you're thinking about moisture control in the bathroom, you're also thinking about proper venting. And you guys went with a really fun choice for your exhaust vent. Was that always in mind? Did you have that? So I'll just describe it for people who aren't looking right now, but go look. It's like a vintage car style round exhaust radiator. I've seen these in mid-century kitchens
Yeah, it's
in
definitely
time capsule
from
houses before.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely from from a kitchen. And we had to add the ventilation. There
Right.
wasn't
A lot
any.
of mid-century bathrooms don't have it for
Yeah.
reasons passing understanding. I guess being out of practice.
Yeah.
Um, or being in the habit of always opening a window, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, from a
Different back.
code perspective, it certainly used to be the default that you had to have natural light and vent in a bathroom. You had to have an operable window, and that's not true anymore because now we can do mechanical venting.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of times when the homeowner is not likely to open a window, even if it does open in the dead of winter or in the hot of
Yeah.
summer or in the smoke. So having the ability to flip a switch and get an exhaust fan to run is a really good idea. But
Yeah.
you found this one. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt. Tell
Oh
me
no,
more
you're
about
fine.
that.
I don't know. We never really had a plan to do that.
We want to add venting obviously because I
Yeah.
mean
Mhm.
Well,
all the
yeah.
moisture. And then it was just one of those things where just like let's add like, a vintage fan in there. But
Yeah.
finding a
Right.
vintage fan, you're gonna run into two problems. One, they're just old, gross, don't work well anymore. And then another one is it's new in box and people want like $1,000 for it. And so
Right.
it was one of those things that are like, would we be able to just like, take the cover and just use new internals? And so like this is where her like dad and uncle came into play a lot with like this like, engineering mindset of just like, yeah, just get it, we can make it work. But not even explaining to us how, but it's just like, yeah,
Yeah, we have
get
no
it.
idea how they.
The
And like,
confidence.
yeah, the confidence. And I mean, that's ended up what we're doing is just using an old front cover and then be able to somehow just make it work. And luckily, yeah, the screw holes lined up. So I mean, that's how we made it work. But it's
Oh,
just
that's
like,
excellent.
yeah, we just added it on there and
Yeah, and we got what is it? It's like gutter liner or something. We just got
Oh,
like
really?
it's basically just like plastic, I don't know, little netting that we
yeah,
just put on the inside just to block the different internals inside because it was pretty obvious that it wasn't just a big circular pad.
yeah,
So
So
just
we
kind of
put
as a
that on.
screen effect, like a theater
Yeah.
screen.
yeah,
Yeah, it just kind of blurs it and you can't even tell that there's a square behind it.
yeah,
And it's become a feature. I mean, it's up high, so you're not going to walk into the room and immediately look at it, but
You
it's
know,
really cool when it's
yeah.
not the sort of thing you have to cross your eyes and not notice. It's like the one modern boring detail in an otherwise vintage space. It's part of the vintage space, which is so
yeah,
cool.
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
What in your mind are some of the other choices that you made in the bathroom that feel like that? I've got a list, but I'm curious what stands out for you.
The soap dispenser is one of the big things that we just recently added in.
Yes.
That originally came from, again, her dad's factory. It had so much old stuff that we tried to reuse, and it had one of those old globe push soap dispensers. His came out to be all gunked up and broken, and he couldn't get it to like work and fixed. And so he felt really bad. So he found another one. I don't know where he found it, but one that was actually operational.
That's
So I mean, that
great.
was another big.
Yeah, so he surprised us with one because he felt so bad that he couldn't get it to work because he was gonna 3D print stuff and all and everything that dads do, but he just could not get it to work. So yeah, he got us
But
a good one.
it's a really fun feature. Yeah. And then the counter is tiled, which is an interesting choice. Not everybody wants a tiled counter these
Yeah,
days.
controversial for sure.
I love the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
So were you concerned about it? Are you concerned about it? How does it feel to you as a user?
Honestly, not at all. I mean, I don't like do my makeup in the bathroom or anything, so I think that's a big component of it. It's not getting dirty.
It
Like
doesn't get schmutzy. Yeah.
yeah, there's nothing really happening on it that would make it gunky. Like
No,
we brush our teeth, we do our hair, and that's it. That's all we use the counter for because we have all of our stuff stored inside the wall and inside the vanity. So there's no like gunk from that building up. I don't know. There's just I'm not worried about it at all. It's
no.
been completely fine.
Especially being properly sealed. I mean, the sealer that we put on has been able to eliminate anything that has actually gotten onto the mortar or tile. So I mean, it's working as it should.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's
That's
stable.
nice. Did you treat it the same way that you did the floor and the space inside the bathroom? Sealed all of that the same way? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you've got tile elsewhere in the space, so you're going to need to do grout care one way or another. You might as well have the consistent aesthetic there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. I love the way you chose the piano hinges for the vanity doors. Was
Mhm.
that, I remember seeing something in your Instagram story about that a while ago, or maybe it was in a reel, but that wasn't your original plan, was it?
I think it
Or was
was.
it?
I
I mean, I don't think we thought about it until we started designing the vanity, but it was basically as soon as we started doing it, we're like, oh yeah, we want to expose the hinges in some way, whether it be just a vintage little hinge or a piano hinge. And then, yeah, we were like, can we make piano hinges work? And my uncle was like, are you sure you want to do this? It's going to be visible on the whole thing. We were like, yeah,
yeah.
that's what we want. Can you make it work? He's like, yeah, I just don't know why you would do that. But then as soon as he put it in, he's like, yeah, no, this
This is
is
what you
the only
gotta do.
option. Yeah.
Looks really good. Oh, this is so fun. So you've talked about working with your dad before. Is this your first time looping in your uncle as well?
Yeah, kind
Yeah,
of.
the
Yeah.
bathroom, yeah. I think so.
So are you converting him to liking the aesthetic of mid-century as you go?
We are. Yeah,
Same
yeah.
exact route your dad took on it.
Well, yeah,
I
so
love it.
my dad was converted just in our house in general, but we took him to that Frank Lloyd Wright house we visited last year, and the second he walked in the door, he was like, "Oh my God,
I
like
get
this
it.
This.
is the greatest thing I've ever seen." And now he's like, he wants to take his brother, my uncle, to a Frank. He's like, "We got to take you to a Frank Lloyd Wright house. Like, you got to see this in person. It's unbelievable. Like all this stuff." So
Yeah.
we watched the show that the new build Frank Lloyd Wright show
Oh
with him.
yeah. The Last Right, I think it's called.
Oh
I've
yeah,
been hearing about this. I haven't seen it yet. So, okay,
yeah.
now this is my second strong recommendation. I guess I should put it on my list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
What's
very
the
good.
streaming service?
HBO?
Is it?
I think it's HBO.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have HBO. All right. All right. Well, recommendation for everyone. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that? Do you know the name of it? I'll put it in the show notes, everybody.
It's the last right,
I
right?
think it's called
Yeah.
The Last Right. I forget. It's from the Penfield House property. It was built, I think it's for the Penfield family again, but obviously,
It never got
yeah,
built.
it never got built because it was the last design on his desk right before he died.
Oh,
So when he died, whoever was taking care of his estate was able to grab the plans, ship it to the Penfield family. So the Penfield family has had it for the longest time. And then when that new people brought that property, they were just given it. And I guess they had a crazy idea, let's build it now. So
Yes.
imagine just being, I mean, I'm sure they paid well for the rest of it, but imagine just like accidentally coming across a set of original Frank Lloyd
yeah,
Wright floor plans.
Yeah, the ones that were on his desk when he died. Like that's crazy.
That's really cool. Well, and that show must have been a perfect inspiration for you because it's about creating something in an old way from entirely new materials and kind of
But yeah,
yes,
learning what's
rebuilding a
important.
vintage aesthetic.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
all the details matter, especially like the lines and all that type of stuff. And I mean, that's even like her uncle was just kind of the same way when he was watching that. He's like, yeah, the lines matter. And it was something he would commonly say over and over again as we're doing the bathroom. He's like, the lines matter. It's like, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Like, line up the lines. Ooh.
That's great. Sorry, my camera just went low battery and whined at me. So um, that was what that was. This is so, yeah, this is such an interesting project, and I can see the writing influence all over this. It's simple. I mean, you do have, what's the status of the pink bathroom? Is it underway?
It's underway. We
Okay.
officially got this is Colin just got it for me for my birthday, so I'm very excited about it. The exact Elger sink that was in that bathroom originally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, as soon as we found out that there were Elger, because the photos are horrible, but we finally found out that they were Elger products in our house.
Mhm.
I've been on the hunt for this literally since we found out, and this was the only one we found in
Mhm.
almost a year. And Colin got it from Utah, got it shipped from Utah to us. So
Facebook
As a
Marketplace.
secret
yeah,
surprise, that's very sneaky. I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
So the pink bathroom is coming, but in this
yeah.
bathroom, I mean, I hear you on that. Like, if the original bathroom was white with pink fixtures, that's not the most
It wasn't exciting.
Yeah.
intense vibe of a mid-century bathroom. So it kind of gives you permission. And I always think this is actually one of the best parts of remodeling a flipped house is that you have this, you can go back to what it was, or you can make a new choice. You can kind of pull from anywhere else in the mid-century era idea
Mhm.
palette. And of course, a person can make that no matter how much time capsule preservation they have in their house, but it hurts more to take out something that is broken but original and just go with a different vibe than it does to sort of you've got a little bit more freedom of movement.
Yeah,
Right.
So you got to
exactly.
make some really cool choices in here. And yet, I think you did pull back to some of the original finish fixture choices. Like I see that you went with chrome for all the metal in the space.
Mhm.
Was that ever up for debate? Is that something you've traced back to the original house?
I mean, yeah, that was just kind of more of a MCM thing of just like,
Yeah.
chrome is used everywhere. Is the safest bet for a metal. I mean, it looks the best in there. And I mean, mixing metals with like, because we all the hardware on the Vanity is brass. I mean, mixing metals is completely fine. And so like,
Hmm.
it's just one of those things of like, yeah, the expertise and kind of like knowing what was in there. It was an
Yeah.
easy choice going with that. Going with anything else would just felt wrong, honestly.
You're singing my song. Absolutely. And yeah, and I think people, when you look in a store, the chrome always feels like the most boring option, but when you see it in a room like this one, it feels clean and atomic and sort of correct. Anything else would feel, well, I don't know. To me, anything else would ring as a modernization. And maybe to someone who's seen too many like hashtag mid-century search term things, they'd be like, shouldn't it be brushed gold? But
Yeah. Oh God.
probably that would look more updated even to someone who doesn't know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else feels like a big success for you in this project? Any lessons that you learned on the fly and accommodated to that you will carry forward into your next project here?
There definitely were.
I know. And now we have to think about it.
Suppressed, yeah, the memory.
I mean, we'll treat them as successes, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you've incorporated this into your lexicon of good decisions.
Yeah, I mean, all of it was like the store solution that we had to come up with and be creative with because we were taking away three closets, and
Hmm.
those closets didn't really provide much space anyway. And so, with the new space, we were able to get more than we ever had before, even with the three closets combined.
Mhm.
And so, I think trying to like figure out how to properly put that all in there almost was on the fly a little bit because we were new, like, yeah, closet here, space up top, and then let's try to build in some little cubbies by the sink. It was just kind of like one
Yeah.
of those things like let's do it. But it was one of those things going back to the game time decision of just like, how are we actually going to do that? And I remember there was like probably 2, 3 days to where me and Dana were going back and forth about at least the little cubbies above the
Yeah.
vanity of just
Did
like,
not understand what you guys, the way they were describing it was not making sense in my brain at all. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna trust you guys. I trust Colin's vision. Just do it. And it came out really
yeah,
nice.
I mean, how we both thought though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
by the
On that,
cubbies,
oh,
do you
sorry.
mean these little slider panel pieces that are right above the vanity underneath the
Yeah.
Yeah.
mirror?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody go look at these. They're super cool, but
Yeah.
I actually was just talking, I had a consult call with someone, just a 30-minute meeting with someone I'll maybe never meet again. And she was describing in her vintage bathroom they were a product that like stuck out 6 inches from the wall and was about that tall and had little slider doors. So it used to
Mhm.
be a style of medicine cabinet you could purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Definitely.
have a vintage example in mind when you came up with these?
Quite a
Yeah.
few, yeah.
We've always like knew that little like medicine cabinet thing stuck out. And so it was just
Hmm.
one of those things of like we couldn't find an actual vintage medicine cabinet. I don't think anything would have been big enough to begin with.
They do
Right.
still sell, they sell like metal ones with mirrors on the front, but we
Yeah.
didn't want to do mirrored fronts.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know, it was a whole thing, but like we knew like we could at least recreate it
Yeah.
if we couldn't find it. And that's ended up what we had to do.
Yeah.
And it looks great. What sort of things do you keep in there?
Pretty
You
much
keep all
everything I
you
own
keep all
goes in. I don't own much, but it all goes in the house.
there. I keep all my stuff behind the mirror.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
So
it's just kind of like the quick and easy stuff. So
yeah.
like deodorant, hair care products, floss, like stuff that you're like, I'm at my sink, let me go open it, grab it, take it out, rather than bending down, having to do it, or even reaching up to the mirror and
Hmm.
going over. So it's
Or
just like
leaving it on the counter surface and
Yeah.
creating a
exactly.
bunch of clutter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Yeah, it's a lovely detail and it really just came together so nicely. And as I'm looking at your active Instagram page, the other thing I'm noticing that's striking me as so particularly lovely right now is the floor tile combination and how well it complements the wood. Did you have to hunt pretty hard to find that, or did you have that in mind from the beginning?
That
It
was
wasn't super
actually,
hard, yeah.
it wasn't super hard, but it was a almost last minute decision
Oh,
Yeah.
because
really?
we wanted a mosaic
It's a one
floor.
inch square grid, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
one by one.
classic.
But yeah, trying to find something that was, not too busy or crazy because there's some examples out there that you type in one by one mosaic and it's just like way out there and you're just like that might be too much.
Not for the
So
Usonian bathroom.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so like combining Usoni with like 60s suburban is is easy, but it's also kind of hard in that regard. But we had one choice selected, and then the company we got it from, Mod Walls, came out not like a week later of like, oh, you can make your own custom
It
mosaic.
was right when we were
Oh,
going to submit the order for one
Yeah,
of their pre-made mosaics.
yeah,
We were like days away from submitting the order.
lovely.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
did you specifically place each one of these tiles, or did you like pop out the tiles from a grid and sub in the color tiles into a white
They,
pattern?
they came as the sheets with just because yeah, we chose the percentages of each color. There are three different browns, and
Okay,
one was
got
like
it.
4%, 2%, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just randomly placed on the 12-inch sheet.
That's lovely. Okay, because this is the kind of decision that would actually break my brain is how to like place them
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
semi-randomly, but not actually. Oh my gosh, it would kill me. But if you can just be like, I want them every 2%, and they give it to
Yeah.
you, that'll work. I would probably be in there like popping out tiles and switching them around at the last minute before I set them too. But it looks so good. It just, yeah, it's all of the warm tones flatter each other so nicely, and all of the whites look so good together, and the whole thing, it just came together so beautifully.
Yeah, I
Oh.
think
It's
it,
yeah.
it was a stressful time.
So start to finish, how long did the whole process, how long did you think about it? And then once you demoed the existing bathroom, how long did it take to get a new bathroom up and running?
I want to say almost I think it was about a year of planning. Like
Yeah.
one
Mhm.
from the moment I had the revelation that we could design it that way
Yeah.
to actually planning it, sourcing materials. I think that was roughly a year.
Yeah.
Because then we demoed in November.
Remember, and it was about like a week or two of that.
Yeah. And then so the problem is our construction crew lives in Pennsylvania. So they had to keep going back and forth and they were only here for a finite amount of time each time.
Mhm.
So it definitely took longer than it needed to. And
Right.
then they were like, okay, we'll come back in January and finish everything. And then they ended up not coming in January. They came like end of February, I think. They didn't
Yeah.
end up coming back till end of February. And they got everything mostly finished.
Yeah.
And
And
then they
then,
just came back.
well, they came back for like the skylight they had to put in. But
Yeah.
otherwise, the time in between then was a lot of like work that we had to do, which
Yeah.
was, like
Finish
finishing
the
some tile, finishing the walls, putting in all the grout, hooking up some plumbing or something here and there. It was just
yeah.
kind of like, stuff that we actually could actually do compared to, some of the precise construction that they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after it took us about a couple weeks, 2, 3 weeks to finish it all up at that point.
Mm.
So almost like I think all in all,
Roughly 6-ish months. Because they came
I
back
mean,
in May, I think.
honestly, that sounds fast to me for a
yeah,
DIY
it
bathroom
does.
project.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, especially considering our help was 800 miles away.
yeah.
And for installing all of this wood and sealing it on site, and then all of the tile and the grouting and yeah, I mean, very nicely done. You kept you had the secondary bathroom sort of as your still in use, and that's a really nice feature. A lot of mid-century houses only have one bathroom, and for myself, that's the case in my house, and so we built a bathroom in the basement before we made any changes. I have not made the changes I mean to my upstairs bathroom because I completely ran out of steam. But I envy your teamwork on this. It's really nice to have. Not even every couple has this. So I should just note
Yeah.
that. Not every couple is both involved in the we want to do this, we're excited about it togetherness of it all. But yeah, I had to build a second bathroom before I could decommission this one.
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean, that's smart though.
Yeah, it was hard enough just having to walk down the hallway like in the middle of the night. So
Mhm.
I can't imagine.
That though, I feel like if you have the right attitude to it, you can give yourself this really Goldilocks effect of you had a bathroom that was and then you have no bathroom, so you're living in the like, this is not nice. And when the new bathroom comes online, you love it even more because you've been through this like bottleneck point of construction. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it made
hopefully
this
that's the best bit of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this is just really one of the many great projects you've taken on in your house, but to my mind, just the most custom, the most specific vision you've tackled so far. It's really satisfying to see you sort of prove a point of how much you can do wood in a bathroom and have it feel gorgeous and in no way not safe. And you're right, for anyone who's visited a Frank Lloyd Wright house, I mean, they're not constructed out of the most luxurious materials, and they're not even always maintained the way they should be, and they're usually doing just fine after 70 some years or more, 100 in some cases. And they're all wood. They're all plywood. They're all plywood and tile, and they're fine.
Yeah. I think that's what got us too, was like they were putting wood in bathrooms back then. I mean, not necessarily the entire bathroom. Like it wasn't super common, but it
Mhm.
was common enough. And even, I mean, the vanities themselves have always been wood.
Yeah,
Never
no
been a
matter
problem. There's always been wood in a bathroom.
what.
There's
Never.
always been wood in the bathroom, and it's going to do better if it's actually real wood than it will if it's, particle board
Yeah,
Yeah.
sort
exactly.
of
Our
composite.
don't even get me started on the one in the guest bathroom. It's been disintegrating since day one. Trash.
Yes,
Now
exactly.
wood.
Those are always in a stage of like on their way to the landfill, which is a
Yeah.
frustrating thing to watch happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, well, this is really exciting. What's your pattern? So after you are dreaming for a year, planning and organizing and sourcing and locking things down, and then you take a project on, are you thinking of the next project while you're working on one, or do you get all your attention onto one thing before you?
I definitely. You're probably more straight at the current goal, but I'm always thinking about the next one.
Yeah, I mean, after this bathroom, I really want to just take a break, and then she walks downstairs and starts stripping all the paint off the brick. And it's just like
The the
it's
brick
tough.
stripping has been looking so good though. I mean,
It's
okay,
yeah, it's coming along.
I recognize the desire for a break, but also as a completely neutral third party in this, I just love seeing the brick reappear. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so fun. Well, do you think after a break, what's the next project? Are you going to go after the other bathroom now or take a break from bathrooms and do something else
Well, after the brick, I mean, there is something with there. We got
after the brick break?
no, but we got to redo the flooring in the basement, but it's just the first floor.
There's a reason I ran to do the brick, and it's because we got a crazy opportunity to get new old stock 70s carpeting. A vintage seller in New York reached out to us and was like, hey, we just bought up a warehouse of new old stock carpeting from the 70s that's never been touched. Like, would
Yeah.
you be interested in any? And we weren't even thinking of putting carpeting anywhere in the house, really. But I mean, how can you say no to that?
Yeah.
Like, you can't. So we have a roll of that downstairs that we need to put in. So we're like, well, we got to get
That's
the
so exciting.
paint and goop off the brick before we put carpeting down there. So it kind of fast tracked it. But so that'll be the next, like,
Got it.
it won't be a huge project, just replace
No,
the
I mean,
flooring.
it'll be a big
It'll make a big
difference.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From bad laminate flooring down there to VCT with carpet. I mean, it's going to look unreal.
Yeah, it'll be really
Have
cool.
you put down carpet before yourselves?
No.
No, we'll probably hire that out.
Yeah, that one seems a little too scary.
I mean, it's going to be an interesting one. This is funny. I just had a great conversation this spring with someone in the greater Chicago area who loves vintage homes. He's got an Instagram account, Homes with Max. And
Oh,
we
okay.
had a huge deep dive into how fun it is to do carpet in mid-century houses and how creative the carpet can feel, especially with new old stock, because modern wall-to-wall carpet doesn't really scratch the same itch. It's not as colorful, it's not as interesting, it doesn't have patterns and textures in it. So tell me a little bit about this carpet that you've got your hands on. What
It's
color is it? What's it like?
let me see if a picture
Funny
will.
enough. It's a mixture though. It's got like copper and then white and some orange, but it's primarily like
Fun.
a green.
I lovingly
Uh,
call it puke.
I mean, yeah, anyone who sees
It
it,
it really just looks like puke, but in
You're
the best
leaning
way.
into the vibe of your house, and I
In
totally
the
support it.
best way. Okay, yeah, this is definitely not going to show on there, but it's like green and orange and
Oh,
white,
wild.
and it's like
Okay.
different. Like some of it's shaggy, some of it's like really low pile. Like, so it's definitely, we haven't fully rolled it out yet because we don't have the space, but I think it's going to have like kind of a sculptural
yeah.
feel to it because it's
Like
got
a sort of a shaven mown pattern in it.
yeah.
That's so much fun. Yeah, and you're not going to find that in a store today.
And
But
it literally smells like brand new. Like I couldn't believe that it smells like brand new carpet after
Yeah.
it's been
50.
stored well. Well, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So Very
Yeah, I mean,
exciting.
honestly, my personal biggest quibble with carpet is just how much it contains the dust mite of ages. It's got everybody else's
Yeah.
whatever in it. But this is new to you. It should work great. And it's the perfect den vibe. That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
fun. That's a
I
really
mean,
fun
yeah,
find.
with that wood paneling and the brick, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
gonna go well.
how do you not do that in a little basement area?
Yeah.
You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
And as much time as I spend helping people discover that they've got hardwood underneath their carpet, if you've if you can put down carpet over not hardwood, then I'm all for it. I think it's a
Yeah,
wonderful
Yeah.
mid-century choice. That's
yeah,
great.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
that's so much fun.
yeah.
I think most of our house was hardwood. Like upstairs was hardwood.
That's original upstairs.
Hmm.
Downstairs,
Downstairs, I think used to be like an asbestos tile. And that's where we were going to go with like
Oh,
a
okay.
VCT type of tile down there
Right.
to create that. But now we split with VCT at the bar area, carpet everywhere else going up the stairs. But like, yeah, even here, carpet was, the upgrade.
yeah, carpet was the upgrade, hardwood was the standard in our house.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah,
know. And that, again, it's sort of like how we feel about Chrome today as being like okay, well, that's just the builder default. But
Yeah.
that script has really been flipped. And
yeah,
if you want to build the vintage vibe, you got to go with the vintage materials. That's
exactly.
so much fun. Well, this has been perfect. I was just tracking along your bathroom progress, and you were kind of working on it just after we talked last time. It started to come together, and I was
Mhm.
following that along and thinking, "Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous." And then I realized we were about to do a season talking about bathrooms, and had to get your input on this and point everybody's attention to what you've been doing. I'm going to see if I can talk somebody into specifying wood paneling in their bathroom in one of my master plans next, and just use your house as an absolute example of
Yeah.
look, it's so pretty.
So,
Um,
so warm. Like the room,
Yeah.
when the sun comes in, the room literally glows. Like it is so warm in there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
that's
Everything
so lovely.
so nice.
Feels like a spa almost.
Yeah.
And it does. Oh, I did meant to dig into this just a little bit more before we wrap up. It does connect. You put more paneling into your bedroom area as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
So now
paneling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you've
it's
got
yeah.
that visual connection. Can you walk straight from one to the other, or do you go out into the hallway to come into the bedroom?
No, they're connected.
Mm.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is such a good project. You guys continue to just make such lovely choices for this house. And as we talked about the first time, there are people out there who'll say, "Oh, why are you doing that?" And then there's a whole horde of other people who are like, "Can you come and do it at my house, please? This is so gorgeous." So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say, I think the biggest compliment that we've gotten is not people saying this looks great. It's people being like, "Don't touch that bathroom," thinking that it is
They think
original.
it's original.
It's like it's
that's a huge compliment.
Wow, that's so well
yeah,
maintained.
and
Like
it's not even just like a few people. It's
it's yeah.
dozens of people that were just like, "Don't touch it." Like that's such great shape, blah blah blah. And we're like, "Don't worry, like we put it in. We
Don't
plan
worry,
on
we
keeping
love
it."
it. We'll leave it alone.
Yeah.
Well, that's so funny because I know in your specific case, I know what you're doing, but that's always my reaction when I see something looking like that on Insta. I'm afraid that the next slide is going to be someone just did the whole thing over in Home Depot gray. And I'm like, leave it alone.
Yeah.
So they just commented too soon. But I agree. When you look at these images, you assume this is something that should be left alone, not something that just got assembled carefully and with so much loving care. So that's kind of the dream, isn't it? To make it feel like it might be a
Yeah.
time capsule.
Yeah, definitely.
Time capsule, but like it still feels up to date, I feel
Yeah,
like.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely still modern elements. I mean,
Yeah.
like the shower, it just being a shower, I feel like standalone showers weren't super big. And like we've got half pony wall, half frameless glass. So it's definitely there's still newer things to
There are
it.
hints.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, actually thinking about the shower, that
Mm.
was a learning point that
Oh
that was a
yeah.
Oh,
big
what
learning
shifted
point.
there?
So we originally wanted textured glass above the pony wall, like that kind of like mottled texture that was super common with like sliding glass doors and stuff back then.
Yeah,
And
a little bit of privacy.
every glass company has it as an option, but they don't say that you can't get it at all, basically, at least for a shower. Because it
Interesting.
only comes super thin, it's too thin to temper. Um, and
Oh,
they only have it in the like prefab doors and stuff. They couldn't
Yeah.
custom cut
Like, of
it.
course.
Yeah, so we had to get just frosted, and we don't love the look of how it turned out. I mean, it's fine. We're gonna live with it, but but yeah, it was one
Interesting.
thing that was like we went to order it and they were like, yeah, we can't do that, and
But
we
it's right
we
there.
contacted
Yeah.
dozens of
To
places.
manufacture specifically. They're
Yeah, like
like,
we
why
could
can't you
not.
do this? And not a single, it was over, I think, 10 companies and manufacturers that we've contacted, and they're like, yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah,
It's like, what the hell?
yeah.
That's
So
so interesting because
yeah,
they do. I mean, they someone's making it tempered because they're installing it indoors, but it's just not
Yeah.
commercially
yeah,
available in other sizes.
I
yeah.
don't
That's
know.
what I don't know. You could walk into Home Depot right now and get a sliding glass door that's that texture.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Can't you
it's
buy a
definitely.
door and like smash off the frame?
Oh
It's
yeah, this is
Yeah.
where like we'll do it framed. Like we don't care about we'll frame it. Like it's fine. Can we literally whatever you can do to make it work, we'll take. And they're like, nah,
No,
can't do
can't do
it.
it.
So yeah, that was
That's
way.
I've had clients with not in a bathroom scenario, but I've had clients who have the sort of reeded glass side light by a front door that gets broken and they try to replace that glass and they can't get it
Yeah.
in the same style. And I wasn't thinking about that as being a universal problem, but I wonder if a lot of those interesting vintage textures were they never tempered?
I
Or
didn't
have
see
we
it.
maybe they were never tempered. That might be the problem.
Yeah.
Or they're not popular enough to be. I don't know how glass is tempered. I don't actually know them.
One of the mysteries that you don't think of. Huh?
Yeah.
I feel like this probably came up in a structures or materials class I took in grad school, and I ought to still have it in my head, but I don't. That is not stuck. Well, that's an interesting challenge. As you say, though, it's funny because you said showers weren't big back then. Probably meaning they weren't popular, but what they actually also were was if there was a shower, it was 30 inches by 30 inches with a 2 foot door swing on the front of it, and nobody, like no human adult, can stand up in them today and use them.
Yeah.
So you have a functional shower that
Yeah.
looks vintage.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Modern
really
style.
the win-win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. I've just been so enjoying watching this project come along, and you've done such a lovely job of documenting it for everybody that else that is getting inspired by it. So hopefully we're going to see. Do people ever get in touch with you and say, "Hey, look what I did," and they've
Oh yeah.
Oh
All
yeah.
the
followed your
time.
examples? Oh, that's
Yeah.
so good.
All the time.
Um,
I
so you
don't
really
think
get
that,
getting to see.
Yeah, probably not from the
but
bathroom.
like the paneling specifically,
Oh
like
yeah.
is like a big thing.
We've like we think about this all the time. Like I wonder how many sales that company has gotten. Not just sales from us, but like just the visibility of their products
People who
existing.
want to do this know to go to them for this
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
because
They're
they're
probably
not local,
right
right? You
our
source that from a far shipping place, right?
yeah,
Yeah. All of it has to have been just from like a random company somewhere. And there are places near us, but I mean when you work out just like shipping costs and like what they would do it here compared to over there, and we go through the whole process, and for some reason getting it somewhere else and even shipped in is cheaper and easier than some other place.
Interesting.
So,
Well, I mean, it's lovely to buy local, but when you're being specific, it's also really important to get the right product from the
yeah,
one or two places in the US that are still making them that way.
exactly, yeah.
And I feel like having heard all about your research process in our first conversation, there might be a few stones left unturned out there, but you have done your homework about what's possible and what's plausible and where you can get it from. So,
Yeah. So
and
don't
if,
have to
it's so kind and helpful of you to share that research with everybody else so that it can be more than just yourself. I have my own obsessive rabbit holes, and I had a friend ask if I would be offended if I shared some obsessive little thing I'd packaged and put together in a very complicated way with them. And I was like, no, it makes me feel like I wasted my time less if more than one person is using this. I mean, I did do it just for me, but yes, please take a copy.
yeah,
Um, it's a part of the fun of being obsessed with mid-century is really going down the rabbit holes on it.
Yeah. And it's just those things of like, yeah, if you can get new old stock or vintage furniture or anything that you need to do it, it's going to make the space feel so much better. But like
Right.
it's not always easy, right? So it's just like how do you recreate that with newer stuff? And we're trying to do that.
And I think you've hit on something here in this bathroom, and it's another thing if people are looking for a takeaway here is if you can incorporate a few vintage pieces in with a lot of modern materials handled in a vintage way, it adds such a layer of authenticity and resonance to it. Whereas if the entire thing is new materials constructed in an old style, it's harder to hit that
Mhm.
don't touch that bathroom moment. So yeah, even just a few vintage pieces can really tie it together. And like the paneling is always going to be new, and you're going to build a vanity from scratch for a custom space, and those pieces are going to come together. So thinking about what appliances, what hardware, what old fan covers. Was that new in the box, or did you take it off of something else?
It's used, I think.
It was used, yeah. Someone had like I think three of them, and they're like it was like the best condition one that I could tell on
They
from.
come and go. Like
Yeah.
They clean
sometimes
up
there'll
well.
be five available, and then you'll go a month and that was our problem, was like this one was the first one that came up after a dry spell of nothing online for a while. So we're like,
Everybody
get
started
it
looking.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get it. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you've been looking around for a while, you start to notice like the prices go up and down too. So you're like, this is a deal, or like, oh my God, I haven't seen it in a year. Buy that one. I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But that's the weight of experience as well when you're looking at these things. Sometimes you just strike it lucky the first time you get excited about something and buy a good one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look back and you think, I overpaid for that, but
Oh, for
Oh
do I
sure.
yeah.
care?
There's been a couple things like that.
Yeah. More than a
Oh
couple.
my gosh. Well, you're getting to reap the benefits the most of your gorgeous bathroom by getting to use it every day. But thanks for sharing it with everybody else. We all appreciate seeing it happen. And I think I'm not the only person who was really excited watching it come together with your sort of progress videos and updates. So thanks for making those as well.
Yeah, thank you for having us and talking about it. And it's been a pleasure, honestly,
Yeah.
kind of going through all of it. It's the biggest learning experience we've had
Yeah.
for any project. And so, I mean, that's almost priceless in its own right. So,
Bathrooms are, I mean, as much as they're almost as complicated as kitchens, in some ways more so, and they have all the same. They've got plumbing, they've got tile work, they've got electrical work, they've got custom and vanity pieces, and they're so satisfying to get right, though. It's really, really fun to see how they come together. So, this has been a pleasure. Everyone who's listening, if you don't follow Un.Flipping already, go follow them. If you haven't been on their site for a minute, because Instagram doesn't serve us our own followed accounts anymore, go to look it up. It's all gorgeous, and I'll put some pictures on the show notes page for easy reference.